So choosing an editor. I've used PyCharm. It's awesome. It's great as it's free and you can use it for writing Python programs. Swaroop goes over how to download this, how to use it. We're going to skip it as we're not going to use it. We're going to use the regular Python shell. I have Python 2 shell and I have Python 3, the Python 3 shell as well. I also use Atom. Obviously, I'm not a super experienced programmer because, as he says in this book, you're an experienced programmer if you use Vim and or Emacs. So I'm using Atom. So but it's clear I'm not. I'm still relatively green. So, but he goes over how to install Vim and how to install Vmax. I'm just going to use Atom. I'm using a Mac as well. So, there's a tradition, as most of you probably already know, that whenever you learn a new programming language, the first program that you write and run is the Hello World program. It just says Hello World when you run it. As Simon Crozens says, it is the traditional incantation to the programming gods to help you learn the language better. So let's set it up. So I got Atom set up. I set this up as Python 11.py, and I typed in print hello world. And so I just saved it on the desktop. I'm not going to set up any special folder right now. Just putting it on the desktop just for now. And then we could run it on our desktop. So I ran it. And we can run, Python 3, Python 11.py. And make sure we're in the desktop. This is in our terminal. And we can get there from in the Mac by punching in command spacebar, and then you just type in terminal. It comes up. So it's right there, 2.7.3. So that's basically it. And boom, and there's our hello world. It's our first program through with regards to Python using this book. So let's open this up a little bit. Yeah, they're setting up he sets up temporary folder and then Python files and stuff. I'm just gonna put it on my desktop for right now. So we have successfully run our first Python program, and we've successfully crossed the hardest part of learning programming, which is getting started with your first program. I don't know if that's true, because it's tough. It's tough, even when the it gets ratcheted up. Especially if you're trying to figure it out the long way, and you're not trying to find all the shortcuts and stuff. So Swaroop explains that a Python program is composed of statements. In our first program, we only have one statement, and it's in a statement we call the print statement, to which we supply the text "Hello World." So let's go to the next section. So print "Hello World." So I'm gonna use. And I'm also going to use just the terminal. I mean, we can use the terminal. We can use idle. The Python 3 shell. And I also have the Python 2 shell, but, just can poke around. So let's just do this right now. Let's just type up. Now, note that you can use, so note this little ampersand. Note that print is a function in Python 3. Right, so so Python ignores all of this because it's after the pound, but it is a function in Python 3. It's not a function in Python 2. You can also put this here. Note that print is a function in Python 3. And then you can do print. Now you can also do one or two, so a single or double quotation mark. And it works the same. Oh, excuse me, I put hello word. Now what you can't do in the Python shell is go up to your previous commands. You can do that in Bash though, right? So if you do, like let's say we go to Python 3, right, and let's say print hello world, and then print hello world. It's going to be an error, right? Because it's a function. So let's say if I go up, it's incorrect, right? And press up again. Now that's the one that's correct, and I can press enter, and it works. So, just note the attributes of these different, I would call them platforms, I guess. These these different platforms where you can run Python programs. So, because there are benefits and drawbacks. And I'm just learning a few of them. I mean, there's a bunch, obviously, that I don't know anything about, but it's nice just getting warmed up. But that's one thing that I know, is that you can't just press up, because I would mess up all the time and just press up. And but you can do that in terminal. So use as many useful comments as you can in your program to explain assumptions, explain important decisions, explain important details, explain problems you try to solve, explain problems you try to overcome in your program, etc. Code tells you how, comment should tell you why. This is excellent. And especially getting into industry, if people are looking for work as, in all types of endeavors within the programming field and computer science field, and apps and whatnot, software, etc., but probably even hardware as well. I mean, you always have like specs, you've got and you always have comments. I mean, so it's pretty useful. And of course, as a student, you want to write notes, because if you don't write comments, it's probably going to have a small effect on your grade. It's definitely going to have an effect on the teacher's opinion of you. That if you're just not conscientious enough to write comments, especially as a green new pupil of computer science or programming or etc. They're probably not going to think too highly of you as a student. So it's just important. It's important. It seems like it's extra. And mind you, some of these lessons and maybe some other classes that I might put on, I might not have a lot of comments, and so I'm pretty embarrassed about that. But it's mostly for time's sake, and sometimes I like to type out the code or the markup, in the video. So, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of comments, and I think that they're important. So as we see them here, we'll try to include them pretty regularly. But if I do omit them, excuse me. So an example of a literal constant is a number like 5, 1.3, or a string like this is a string, or it's a string. So let's type that. Let's type. So notice that we can do the double quotations and then have a single quotation inside. Now, can you have that? Probably not. You can. Interesting. Well, I feel silly. So yeah, as long as you alternate, but you can't do this, because it thinks it's over, right? And you notice because of the colors, you know, it's a balanced syntax. So as long as you alternate, you know, single quotation and then broken up with a double quotation, it's fine, or vice versa. It's called literal because it is literal. You use its value literally. The number 2 always represents itself and nothing else. So here's numbers. Numbers are mainly of 2 types, integers and floats. An example of an integer is 2, which is just a whole number, right? So 4 is just 4, whole number, integer. Floating point numbers, or floats for short, are decimals. So 3.23, or 3.32 rather. And this is interesting. 52.3 e to the negative 4. I'm guessing that is the decimal that's moved to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm guessing that's 0.00523, maybe? Yeah. And he explains it here that the E notation indicates powers of 10 and means 52.3 times 10 to the negative 4th power. Yeah, which is a guess, and it was a correct guess. And then if it was like e to the 4th, it would essentially be, and I can't press up. I keep trying to do that. E to the 4th. I'm guessing that this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be 523,000, I believe. Yep, 523,000.0. And that's a float. Remember, whenever you use this 10 the powers of 10 notation, that looks like it's going to be a float. So you could say type, and then 52.3 e to the 4th, class of float. So you can just do type, and then, you know, whatever inside the parenthesis, and it will output what the class is. So this is a float for sure. So note for experienced programmers, of which I am not one, there's no separate long type. The int type can be an integer of any size. Okay, interesting. I know a little bit about long and int. So I think in C++, long is a separate type, and it means, you know, a certain number of characters, meaning a certain, I believe, certain number of bytes as well. So once it passes a certain number of bytes and or characters, then it becomes a long type. But in Python, it's just int, and the int can be of any size. So a string is a sequence of characters. Strings are basically just a bunch of words. You'll be using strings in almost every Python program that you write, so pay attention to the following part. Okay, so let's do this. Oh, and here he explains it. You can specify strings using single quotes. All white space within the quotes are preserved as is. So remember, it's within the quotes. So if you go like this, then it's preserved. But if you do like, you know, this, then it, oh. Interesting. So usually, because I know that, it's interesting. I know that Python ignores white space in general. So the fact that we're getting a syntax error is interesting. I wonder if that would be the same case. I'm pretty sure it would not be the same case with Atom. But let's try this. So if I go here, type this, I guess so. Might be mixing it up with something else, a different language or whatnot. Excuse me. All right, I'm just gonna keep quiet and move forward. All right, so Swaroop, let's see what he's saying. So you can specify strings using single quotes, such as quote me on this. All white space and tabs within the quotes are preserved as is. Strings and double quotes work exactly the same way as strings and single quotes. Example, what's your name? We just did that, right? As long as they're alternating. All right, and then triple quotes. You can specify multi-line strings using triple quotes. So, okay, so let's, and it says you can use single quotes and double quotes freely within the triple quotes. So let's use triple quotes. So let's say this is a multi-line string. And then just start typing. Second line. And then what's your name? I asked. He said, Bond. James Bond. And then, interesting. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. It's funny though, because I didn't end this quote at all. You know? It still works. It just, the quote isn't ended. And that's what the power of this multi-line string, these triple quotes. And it says you can use single quotes and double quotes freely within the triple quotes. You don't have to close them. Because look, he closed it here. Right? But then this is just regular, this is just I asked, and this is outside of it. I mean, it's just do whatever, essentially, in terms of quotes. And then once you close it, it's done, and then it displays here. So pretty powerful, pretty cool. Triple quotes, specifying multi-line strings. So yeah, we'll go into strings and their immutability in the next video. Thank you so much.